Welcome back, guys, to another episode Invest in Your Future. I'm your host, Kenny, Coach Kenny, CEO of Kirunda Group Corporation. I want to thank you guys for joining me for another episode. We're here every Thursday um, to help back by giving back knowledge, giving back assistance or advice or just ideas in terms of improving your financial education situation and also just helping you get a different mindset so you can that's the whole point of this. um, I want to give a reminder, don't forget we do a Zoom call every Wednesday. It's strictly about how to start a business and then how to expand if you have a business already, how to think about the new way you're gonna have to do business in this new future that's coming up. But then also we deep dive into other people's businesses and break them down and see why they're successful, and then also why it works for them. It might not work for you, but you at least you learn on how other people think and how other people do business, and you hopefully can get some ideas. And there's so many ideas out there that I'm learning, but I think you guys could also take advantage of that. So listen, it's every Wednesday. I talk about business, but then also we bring on guests also that have businesses, and we break them down, and hopefully people learn from them. So today, I really want to talk about a new craze that's coming up, especially in the millennial age, and it's really something that a lot of people are trying to do, and I understand it, but I also don't understand it. So let me give you an example. People want a certain amount of money, but then people think that's the money I need to retire. But in hindsight or about it, you're going to actually need more. So now the new craze is called FIRE. FIRE is an acronym standing for financial independence and retire early. Now, I'm going to break down on how you can do this, and then also the different ways that people think and the way you should be thinking if you want to be part of that new craze. I'm not part of that new craze. I don't think I'm going to retire ever. We're going to talk about that also. So, FIRE. So, financial independence and retiring early or retire early. Now, to be financially independent means a couple of things and has to mean these things. It means you have the financial tools to get the financial income that you can have to be able to retire early. So you have to have the financial education to be able to get those tools that help you become. There's no way you can accidentally become financially independent. You actually have to know how to set up a system that can help you. You can't just stumble into being financially independent. You have to set up a system because everyone, even the people who receive a lot of money, let's say like athletes or people that win the lottery, they think they're financially independent, but they just increase their spending and they end up broke. So, in order to become financially independent and be part of the fire, the new craze, you have to you have to increase your financial education. That's number one, because like I said, you can't stumble into financial independence. So you have to increase your financial education. How do you do that? You actually have to study. You have to take at least an hour a day and study financial education. It's that simple. That's the only way you can do it. There's no way around it. You can't have somebody, you can have somebody mentor you, but until you actually stick. So you actually have to put in an hour of reading a financial education book or listen to a financial education podcast or something. That's the only way you can get those tools. So, and the key that if you understand that the real key is self financial education, meaning you are going to find it yourself. I can tell you the books to read, I can tell you the podcast to listen. It helps you retain the information more. If someone's teaching, you only retain a certain amount, but if you go find the information yourself, you actually retain a lot more of the information. This comes down to anything. So if financial education is one of your goals, you take an hour and put the time into it, but you have to find your own financial education that makes sense to you, that you understand. Excuse me. We bring on guests here that are high level financial guys and people that are low financial education guys, and we get the whole scope. And the the best thing you can do for yourself is at least grab one book or grab one podcast a week. Grab one book or grab one podcast. That will help your financial education. Remember, you have to find it yourself. So now, if you want to retire early, the second part of fire, retiring early, it comes down to you have made enough income that you don't, or you have enough income coming in that you don't have to work anymore. So, in order to get to that level, you not only have to have financial independence, but also you need to have a game plan because a lot of people think, retiring early, like I said, dictates on having a certain amount of money. Actually, it does not do that. It dictates on how much money is coming in, how much cash flow is coming in dictates on your retirement. And the majority of people, what they're trying to do in this new fire age is they're living cheap, cheap, cheap for a long period of time and saving as much as they can and then trying to get a return on that money they save. Now, this is a long kind of game, but it's doable. A lot of people have done it and people retire early. But if you for me to understand this kind of mindset, I have to not like what I'm doing in order to retire because you can only be on the beach for so long. You can only drink so many mai tais. You can only play so much golf. You can only play so much every basketball, volleyball, whatever sport you want to play every single day. When you retire, you can only do it so much. What do you do the rest of the time? You can only sleep so much. You can only eat so much. So what are you gonna do the rest of the time? That's why for me, I don't understand this retire early. You only retire early is if you don't like what you're doing. So if you're doing plumbing and you love plumbing, why would you retire? Especially if plumbing's paying you money, why would you retire? I don't understand that. Now I can understand the mindset where you're doing something you don't like to do, and I would say, okay, that's a situation that's different. You want to leave that situation, but once you leave that situation, you should be leaving into doing something that you love, that makes you money. That you're gonna do regardless if you working or not working, you'd still be doing this thing. So um, one of the things I love to do is I love to teach basketball. I love to teach young kids. Now I would do this regardless of if I was getting paid or not because I love doing it. But it just happened to retire early. What's retiring early? Even if you retire at 25, you put in the time, you grind by 25. What are you gonna do the rest of the time? In retiring early means you actually have you actually have enough income coming in, but then also that inflation is not eating your money that's saved, and then also that your expenses are not rising. So remember, every single year your taxes go up. Every single year your taxes go up, or the tax get increased, or there's a new tax, or there's new, something that's going to be added on to you for an expense. You have to guarantee. I can guarantee you that. Now, if you retire, let's say you have 50,000 or 500,000 saved, whatever, all those new taxes will eventually eat into all that money that you have saved. So there's no retiring early unless you have income coming in that's lower than your expenses. A lot of people, the way they do this, which I suggest also, if you want to do this, is you make money in dollars and you retire in somewhere where it's cheap. People go to Africa, people go to India, people go to Mexico, people go to South Africa, wherever, and they live cheaply because their their dollars or their money is cheap compared to the US dollar. So if you have a rental here and it makes you $1,000 in US, but you live on $500 in Mexico and you live like a king, a lot of people do it that way. That's one way to retire early. But even then, what are you going to do the rest of the time? So financial independence as quickly as you can. So, like I said, figure out a way to make more money coming in than you spend. Figure that as quickly as you can. Once you do that, you can retire early from the job that you don't like. Then you could take whatever time you have left and focus it on something that you would be doing regardless of if you were getting paid or not getting paid. That's when you could actually live a good life because you won't have to retire because you're doing something you love. A lot of people like Warren Buffett, all these other guys, they work until their 80s because they love what they do, regardless of the money. So you should be doing something you like to do. They say, oh, follow your passion, follow your passion. Yes, follow your passion after you get your financial independence in order. You cannot follow your passion if you're broke. You live on the street. The world is tough. So you cannot think I'm going to be financially on $20,000 saved. You can't. unless you're bringing in $20,000 a month, that's when you can think about retiring early and going towards something that you love. But otherwise, if you're living on the edge of broke and check to check, you can't even think about retirement. You have to think about more financial education. That's why we talked about that first. Get your financial education up, and then get your financial independence with those financial tools that you learn, and then you can retire early from the job that you don't like, and then you can do something for the rest of life that you enjoy. That's what I suggest for people. But otherwise, get this mindset out of your head of retiring early. There's no retirement. Actually, there's a stat that says most people, especially men, once they retire, they die within 3 years. So even, it's not good for you. Being sedentary and doing nothing is actually not good for you. So don't think retire early. The first part is great. Financial independence, that's number key. That's number one thing you should focus on if you don't have it already. And if you have questions, if you have comments, please leave a like, leave a thumbs up. We always appreciate that. But if you need help also with you getting your financial independence, you can contact us and we can kind of help you and give you kind of a path or a connection or a network that can help you. Because we everyone's trying to help each other, and that's why we do this podcast. That's why we do this Instagram. We do the YouTube. We do the all giving back the information because I want people to empower themselves with the information and hopefully it changes their lives. Guys, so please give us a like, give us a thumbs up, give us a wave, give us a 5 star, subscribe. We love everything. If you have comments or questions, leave them wherever you're hearing this, and we'd love to get back to you. All right, guys, until next time, I'll see you at the top.